Lots of stuff to fill you guys in as Mo Seider elected to the top 20 NHL defenseman list after being unranked last year. This is by NHL.com. So, dang, you were supposed to reveal the number yet, Garrett. It's okay. Anyway, so there you go. All right, well, let's just tee it off there. Moritz Seider, number 9 in the defensive ranking, and I will just read off the names for you guys that are above and below him, and then I will give it to the leader of the Moritz Seider fan club in Spencer Raxter. So, number 10, Evan Bouchard. Thank God he's not over Mo Seider.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Jake Sanderson at 8, Matthew Schaefer at 7, Lane Hudson at 6, Miro Heiskanen at 5, 4, Rasmus Dahlin, 3, Zach Renski, 2, Quinn Hughes, and number 1, Cale Makar. Spencer Raxter, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the top 5, you can't really argue it. You know, you can't really argue that top 5. You might be able to put some guys ahead of different ones inside the top 5, but that's pretty solidified. I think Sanderson and Schaefer are the only two that really I've got, I'm kind of up in arms about, or I would really even have any really inkling about. But I think Mo Seider is very deserving of, if not top 5 recognition, right outside top 5 recognition. Because if you want to put those 5 guys ahead of him, whatever, I'm not really going to argue it. But there was a stat out there that I saw that really opened the eyes. And I think it was, there is one singular hockey player in the past, 10 years? It was, I'm sorry. There is one player with at least 140 points, 500 hits, and 500 blocks over the last 3 seasons, and that player is Mo Seider. And I know that the NHL and the NHL voters and the fan base love the offense. They love the flash. They love the jitterbug defenseman. But Mo Seider, I believe, is all around the best defenseman in the NHL. And we really saw him pick up his offensive game a little bit last year, where he got to 60 points, where he was quarterbacking that power play, and he was doing a good job at it, especially when you saw him for Team Germany really get involved offensively. You really saw him showcase what he can do on that side of the puck. I think Mo Seider is a prototypical playoff defenseman. It's just unfortunate that he hasn't gotten the opportunity to show that yet, because a guy like that really grinds on you for a long series. And there are only a couple guys that I would take over him when you talk about a defenseman going forward. I think he can only go up with his offensive production, and he is one of, if not the best well-rounded defenseman in the NHL, because what he does, diving in front of pucks, laying guys out in the open ice, the reverse hits, the puck control, it is just things that you can't really teach. It's just you either got it or you don't. You got the edge, you got the size, you got the feel, or you don't. So I'm not too up in arms about him. Oh, no way, he's got to be in there. I think he should be at the very least 7th, and I would argue for 6th.
Yes, I think that is exactly where I'm at with Mo Seider as well. He is the best defensive defenseman in the NHL. I don't think after a season of a little bit of injury problems for Jake Sanderson that you can put him over Moritz Seider. Moritz Seider is just elevating his play to levels every single year and continues to grow as a player. One thing I want to point out, though, is you look at this list, and other than numero uno on the list, not a single one of them has won a Stanley Cup. And that's because as much as the NHL loves going after the jitterbug defenseman, that's the next wave. Everyone loves it. Sean, glazes Lane Hudson over it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's not who win you the Stanley Cups.
No.
The Stanley Cups are won by the defensemen that are defensive defensemen. The anchors are your defense that you can rely on time and time again on the defensive side of the puck. And that is why Moritz Seider 100% deserves to be higher on this list. This is offensive bias to the core. I can't, other than Evan Bouchard, I would have been crashing out fully if Evan Bouchard was above Moritz Seider. But Matthew Schaefer, he has one damn season in the league. One season, all right? And I get he had more points than Seider, but he is nowhere near the defender than Seider, that Seider is. And Seider still had over 50 points. It's not like he had 30. Like, he still put up a very legitimate clip on the point end of things. And that's where I just want to say, everyone, pump the brakes on the jitterbug defenseman until anyone other than Cale Makar, the number one on this list, can prove that as an offensive defenseman, being the number one on your team can win you a Stanley Cup. Other than Cale Makar, in the recent history, we're still to be seen.
Yeah. And I look at like what Mo Seider did last year, anchoring what was the best defensive pairing in the NHL for the first 4 months of the season before Edvinsson got injured, and they were just absolutely dominating teams from the blue line, on top of having the best point production he's had in his career, even since his rookie season. Like, it's his best since his rookie season, and it's the best of his career. And like you said, 60 points is nothing to slouch at for a guy that's also giving you over 180 hits and blocks every year. Like, the guy is a difference maker. And when, and hopefully, soon, the Detroit Red Wings make their way into the playoffs, that's the type of guy that keeps, other teams up at night. That's the type of guy that makes a Connor McDavid or a whoever you're going to be seeing on that other first line hesitate a little bit, because he's going to see, 6 or 7 games of Mo Seider throwing the body at him, making him feel him everywhere you are. So you need that, and to have that locked down is extremely important.
And maybe I'm leaning too far over my skis, but when you do get into the playoffs and teams have to deal with Moritz Seider, and let's just say in butterflies and rainbows world that we win a Stanley Cup, there is a legitimate chance that you see Moritz Seider win the Conn Smythe because of how good he is defensively in a playoff series, and how much he can just control a game, control a series with how vicious he is hitting and blocking shots. Like, that is something when the mistakes get amplified, and that is what defines series.
Yeah.
That is when the guy who makes no mistakes on the back end in Moritz Seider shines through, and you go through playoff series. Gary, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, just another stat about him. He's never missed a game in his NHL career.
Yeah.
Power stat.
I don't know if I want to knock on wood for that, but that's just one of the biggest. All right, knocked on wood. That's just like the biggest stat that stands out to me. I mean, the guy just fights through some stuff, and I mean, people can be disappointed in 60 points, but for me, that's perfect for a style, an all-around defenseman like Mo Seider is. He doesn't have the Quinn Hughes skating ability, but he puts up points. He'll hit someone over the boards. He'll put someone through the glass, and he'll block that puck instead of letting it get to John Gibson. And I mean, we don't really have many of those gritty guys anymore who actually step in the way and take a puck. So, I mean, I had him at 6. I think he's by far a better defensive defenseman and all-around defenseman than Lane Hudson for sure. But it's the top 5. I mean, I think he fits right in for sure.
Yes.
But the top 5 are the top 5, and I mean he still does fit in.
Yeah, you cannot comfortably put him in the top 5 yet. Solely based on the Red Wings. Like, if he even though what has Columbus done, what have those teams done, but if the Red Wings had success, if they had more of a track record, if the league, if the voters, if people could see what he actually is in a playoff series and what he actually brings to a playoff team, I think that would have been able to bump him up in the top 5. But you can't really make an argument to get him past any of those guys, except for maybe Miro. But even then, and I saw somebody say it. That's how I feel while y'all hate on Lucas Raymond, says Truth Finder. And I wanted to pivot to that a little bit, because I did, branching off of Mo Seider, he's been doing this relatively by himself as a defenseman on the Red Wings. Like, he's had decent stretches of play from partners here or there. He got some good play for Ben Sherratt for a little bit. Jake Wallman was a solid compliment, even though we know, he has obviously his glaring deficiencies. But he has never had another true, lockdown, stand-up defenseman to pair with him, until we saw the beginning of this season when Simon Edvinsson turned it on. And I am a huge fan of Simon Edvinsson. I have a ton of belief in Simon Edvinsson. I honestly think he has more offensive potential than Mo Seider does, and I think we've seen him do that in a couple of these 3-on-3 goals in overtime and stuff. But